and it got everywhere. Still alive. Oh, really?
Yeah, I gotta do it tomorrow. Well, I don't know if I can this week, actually. They're fucking taking me 10 hours. Plus, because funniest shit happened at work. Because it's the New Year's, 5 people quit.
Hmm.
5 people
New
did
Year's
not
resolution, I
show up.
guess.
I want to thank all of you for watching it with me. Saw many raps. We'll see more one day. Good luck on your gacha roll. Yeah, in spirit. Trustante. Good night, y'all.
Have fun. Don't worry.
Hello, everybody. How's it going? I'm a little bit behind here. The song says to dance, that it does. Oh, that's actually what we're going to be rolling for tonight. I just got the tweet out. Do me the favor, chat. Go give it some love. NP15 of Enkidu, oh boy. It's really weird because it's making it look like Doge Knight is not attached to her shoulder, but Doge Knight is attached to her shoulder. I don't know why. Okay, let me grab you guys today's sauce. First sauce of 2025. Do you have a clan in PoE? We do. I have not touched PoE in a hot second, though. I believe Ash and Creamy have officer status in it, but I do not remember. Okay, let's get this party started. That was really weird. I don't know why that transition like jumps sometimes. Hope everybody is doing good today. Residente, thank you for the 53 in a row. Bob, thank you for the 1 month away. Thank you for the follows we had while offline. Here is today's artwork. Go give the artist some love as usual. And there we go. Today we got a lot to do in FGO, so I'm going to try to make it fast on the AP side of things here. It's going to be difficult, though, because I got to, like, do some of the missions, and I don't know exactly, like, what I need to do for that. So I got to take a look here in a second. I managed to keep my AP down on JP. NA as well should not be capped, but we'll have to see. If they're capped, they're both barely capped. Husky Pitbull. Ooh, nice. When did they decide to return Ginormo health enemies? This is a Storm Pod node, so these are always here. I'm just back running it again. Again, for those of you guys that saw the GSSRs on JP yesterday, we got MHX. She is already level 100. And we got Ace slash Tonalico and Semiramis on the other one. So definitely a wild set of GSSRs. And it's funny because I also know, I think Bob as well got a double on one of his. So very, very lucky. That's actually, I think it's my first double GSSR in years. So it's certainly welcome and definitely could have had worse results. So I am absolutely ecstatic with how it turned out there. NA is going to be a little bit more difficult. I have to find some way to make up my mind on the NA one, but y'all know that's not going to be an easy thing. Chapter 10, part 3 should have recommended an Avenger instead of a Moon Cancer. Let me take a look. Yeah, if you can, bring that up to Avalon. I think that's just a typo on his part. And good catch. You're awawa. Happy with that snag? Nice. Congratulations. Oh, both your JPs were doubles. Oh, that's fucking insane. Nice. Lancer Bryn, happy to have a new servant. Yep. That's the way I always choose to look at it. Like, as long as I get a new servant or a servant that I like low key kind of needed, I'm fine with it. It's usually GSSRs, I kind of just take them as almost I know they're not free, but almost as if they are a free sort of acquisition. In the sense that like I'm used to like spending money on the games, so it's not like a crazy thing for me to spend a little bit more to guarantee one. So as a result, I kind of choose it to look at it as like, well, what will be, and if I get a good result, I get a good result. If I get a bad one, I get a bad one. So it's like anytime it's even like remotely neutral or better, I'm just happy with it. Because I've had plenty of bad ones, unfortunately. Hilariously enough, though, my AP on JP is sorry, not my AP, my QP is already down to 1.4 mil. Just from I ended up having, I think it was like 4 to 5 different units that I needed to level up. Because not only did I acquire basically 3 from the GSSR, but I ended up having a couple of other units that hadn't been worked on that had been recently acquired. Like for instance, I believe during the Phantasm Moon rolls, I got spooked by Percival. So like he was just a unit I needed to get leveled up and ready. Already have the needs. Meat is hard. Exactly. Frozen Fire Neko, thank you for the 11. Appreciate it. And Eroded, thank you for the 25. Gonna be a great year in NA. I hope so. I actually do hope that like FGO turns a corner this year and like ends up returning to form. I think there's signs that it will. I'm cautiously optimistic, basically. Let's see. Have I done everything for my JP daily? Something there is 7 out of 16. That's 1 out of 2. That's 1 out of 3. 1 out of 2. Looks like there's a couple more I can do. Two is red items. 7 is FP gacha. 12 is orb shaped items. Same with 14. So I need 3 orb shaped items. Then out of Percy on JP, I did not. What do I want to do for that? I think that's literally just going to be like training grounds or something. Those meet the weekly target requirement. But I have not gotten a skill gem out of it. Yarn is round. Skill gems should count. I would assume a seed would as well. This one's probably a decent one. For those of you guys that wish to see Ricardo, go ahead and show him off to you guys. I did get him up and running. He's been doing pretty well. Already just in initial testing, his numbers are high. I haven't grailed him or anything like that. This is an MP5, but he is just pretty strong. Just kind of show you here, and again, this is counterclass. This is 0.5 of his damage. And he still is doing 178k. Did get what I wanted? Hey, as long as you got exactly what you wanted, there's no complaints there, right? So I'm saying, like, a double is a rare thing in and of itself. People should not act like they're, like, deserving of a double or something like that. Nobody deserves a double. We're all just lucky sometimes. Is his sword strong? You tell me. Yeah, it's not uncommon to see him doing like 500k plus single target damage, which is definitely solid. Like, he will easily clear this. Wait a minute, Saber versus archers? Yeah. I'm just showing chat because I need to like do this node, and I know it will kill. So it's a decent showcase to his damage output. There's his final Ascensionist chant saw. Oh, sweet. So I think both of those counted, so I got both my orb items done. And actually that should have counted for a red item as well. So that probably got literally everything. Never on GSSRs. GSSRs feel like they have a tendency to happen more because you're guaranteed one of the copies already. And so I think that's where that comes from. It's like the odds of you naturally getting a SSR to appear plus the guaranteed one. It's like, it's rare, but it can happen. Like as rare as getting something before pity in another gacha game. This is wild because this is just like day 2 and we're already done with the vast majority of the missions. So I guess they're probably just putting out a bunch of them at this point. I'm still 11 out of... Oh no, okay, that is the total number of missions. So yeah, we're good. I've done everything other than the FP roll, which is fine. Because what that means, that frees up my my AP. Mafu, thank you for the follow. Welcome. As opposed to 11, that's true. 50% down just on Jolteray Saber. Oh boy! Man, yeah, out of all of these strengthenings I have to do, it's Jolteray Saber is the one that I really want. Oh no, I did not press that button, but yeah, I think it's caster is what we wanted. By the way, chat, y'all didn't see it, but my Castoria is now 120 on JP, as is my maid altar. I literally got 2 units to 120 with the embers off the lotto, and still managed a full mailbox. I didn't miss the GSSR and rolls. No, I'm just spending AP down first. There we go. I actually do really like his second ascension. I was not wild when I first saw it. In fact, I don't prefer the card art of it, but his actual in-game sprite, it does look good. Like the just casual outfit, the casual wear looks really nice on him. The Estrella syndrome? I don't mind Estrella's art. Am I planning to 120 every Arturia? Yes. Always has been. Grand Jill's Lily can be a reality soon. That was a sentence. His MP sounds like a JP advertisement. It's like Suwano's theme, so yeah. That's one of the reasons why I actually like hearing it, right? It's cool hearing it. So I just gotta do this probably the next like 3 more times. Shouldn't take very long. Oh my god, fingers. There we go. Chat wants though we can switch to a different ascension. He does have the 3rd ascension, which is still very much the same, but like way more like blown out and fiery. It's basically he switches the soldiers for flaming lions instead. Which is super cool. I mean, I find the knights cooler, but I totally understand, right? Like, it's gonna be one of those things where 3rd ascension's gonna be in the eye of the beholder. People are either probably gonna love it or hate it. Card art's a little off to me, yeah. Oh, that was an actual berserker. I might have been able to just card that, even with the arts card. Because he's got good multi-turn everything in his kit. There you go, he's already bought 4. Happy New Year's, Aniko. How you doing? He's a new sword, Chad. Basically. Wait, bond 4 in one day? Yeah, it's actually not that hard to do. I haven't been like popping apples or anything. Again, it's very easy to bond nowadays on JP. Remember, your front line gets 20% increased bond. A lot of the nodes just are better off for it now as well. So it's like, it's not a difficult thing to actually achieve bond on anyone. Can I do one run in line mode? Sure. Yeah, if you guys want to see it, I'll do it. I only have the one card. Let's see how it goes, though. That's gonna do jack crap. Actually did about 12k. So not bad, considering that's neutral, and he's still carded with a quick card for about half its health. That's just kind of nuts, especially in a Buster comp. So it's like, probably if I have 2 cards and I can make it into a Mighty Chain, he can probably kill even the neutral. Oh, let me back out. Oops. Yeah, it's usually nothing to get there. Like back in the day, it would have taken you a while, but bonding is super easy now. I don't like the mouth, like the lion mouth coming at you. Looks super weird to me. Probably my only complaint about the NP. Because it looks like just too circular, which I get is like what they're going for. Like right here. There's a bunch of servants that actually have multiple MP animations, right? Like, he's not the only one by any stretch of the imagination. Man, I could not get cards on the final turn, though, to save his life. It's the same animation, just replace Knights with the Firelands. Yeah, they basically, like, everything flows the same, but they've changed the background and they've changed the sprites that are present. Do I think the grand system might be related to the LB finale? Yes, absolutely. I don't even think that's like that crazy of an assumption, right? I just assumed that to be the case. I think it's like it serves twofold purpose. Like it's a narrative thing, but it's also something that the developers can like point to and get people hype over and say like, hey, look, we're doing this. It's yet another way to make the servants your own and make them unique to your account and not just the same as everybody else's. Because like, if you start to think about it, yeah, like anybody can go out there and can grail like a Jalter or something like that, but like how many people have grailed like specifically the exact same units as you and that sort of stuff? So it's like you could take pride in that, and it's usually like just you that's managing to do that sort of thing. People have been hung up on Grand since Camelot. Yeah, I mean, I said this before. I actually feel kind of vindicated by them coming out with the Grand system because it confirms exactly what I've been telling people for years. On this channel, even especially, like, the Grands have been a topic of hot debate. And I know it's probably worse other places. So, like, do understand that for years now we've been telling people that anyone could be a Grand, and there are some people that still just want to fight you over that. Well, this new system coming out is basically Nasu confirming that to be the case. You can make any unit you want a Grand. Therefore, it doesn't matter. I think the only thing that'll actually be up in the air is, like, do the extra classes count type deal, but we'll see. Grand is never a fixed servant, it just depends on the threats. Yep, and that's, like, again, that's something that was very obvious to some of us, but other people were very, very, very much disputing that. And it's unfortunate. I understand why people feel strongly about it, but it's usually just people's own, like, bias kind of leaking through, where they're like, they wanted a character to be a Grand, and that's why they're upset about this sort of thing. God, I need a Sunlight Battlefield chat. Anyone that can think of one? Because I've run several, and I would have thought that some of them would have counted, but they didn't. Maybe Camelot. Don Remy Leon. Okay, let me go back and check. Well, it's got my weekly target in there, and of course it updated. Never fails. Northmore CAD? Someone said Leon, so we'll do Leon. Actually, yeah, I was gonna say I will literally just continue to keep taking the same composition that I have been. It's also because the Grand stuff, people get it wrong and fall into two categories: ignorant to the lore, those that want to headcanon. Yeah, I agree with that. And it's really, really funny too, because, like, where a lot of that came from was, do you guys know the node that we did in story the other day? The Olga dream sequence is what I'll refer to it as. That node made a lot of people, like, entrenched as to who the Grands were. And they were like, no, it's only these units. It's never going to be anyone else. It's just these. And, like, people were trying to tell them, no, it's not. That's not what that means. But it doesn't matter in some cases. Got Scotty Caster on GSSR and NA. Hey, that's nice. Especially if you didn't have her. Exactly, Tsuji. So it's like the concept at play, and this is where I think a lot of people got, like, bent out of shape about it. But the idea is that there can only be one Grand per class at a time. This does appear to be true, but it's just a factor of, like, it's for that specific threat, right? Like, hey, there's just a Grand for this specific threat at this current moment. The second the threat is addressed, they basically just, like, get recycled back in. It's like the Grands are just there to serve a purpose. Nothing more, nothing less. By need of effect basis, yeah, pretty much. Come and go depending on the situation. And they should, because, like, the way the actual lore here works is The grands are what amounts to how do I put this? The grands are what amounts to, like, basically it's basically the planet's way of defending itself, right? Like, it's straight up the natural summoning of servants by the throne, or from the throne, right? Like, as opposed to normal servants are what humans do in order to mimic this process. That's where, like, a lot of this comes from. We took a look at this and we're like, hey, that's pretty cool. What if we could do that? And then we did it, but we have a shittier version of the whole process. I wonder if the grand system is one and done ordeal. I hope that they expand upon it in some degree, just based off of that, because I do worry that, like, yeah, what if it's just for, like, the most recent story fights or something like that? And doubly so because then I feel like some people may choose to meta, like, their grand choice, and I don't think that's that's not cool, right? You want the grand to, like, be the important servant to that particular master. You don't want it to just be like, all right, who's the most, like, OP as dicks unit of this class at the current moment in time? So that would cheapen it to me if they make it basically something where it's like, yeah, only for, like, a handful of fights ever and never anything else. But I do think it's going to be restricted. I don't think it's going to be like, hey, you're going to see farming nodes and shit like that. I just hope that, like, whatever a potential, like, part 3 of story is starts using it as well. Not really lucky. We don't really just see normal servant occurrences a lot of the time. Usually what we're seeing is, like, counterforce summons and stuff like that. Occasionally you do have, like, just the stray ghost liner that's, like, running around, but they're probably, like, just already there. It's not something necessarily that, like, oh, hey, the planet brought them into fruition specifically for this moment type deal. Usually if that's the case, it's probably the counterforce coming in. Merlin was never a grand in story. Yeah, Merlin is stated to have the, like, the candidacy to be one, but he's never actually, like, achieved grand status. So he's basically stated, like, hey, yeah, short of Solomon, I'm probably the next man up. But Merlin's got a big problem. He's not dead yet. And that's his biggest issue. Like, in theory, Merlin can't become grand, but that's getting into, like, wonky lore. Merlin choosing not to be grand is very Merlin. Yes, very much. Well, see, that's the thing. I keep seeing everybody throw out the extra classes. Do denote, chat. So far, they've said you can make 7 servants grands. They haven't said anything. So right now, I would at least be apprehensive as to whether or not extra is even going to be pickable. It may be. That may be something they allow you to do. But when they state specifically 7, that's a very, like, loaded number in Fateverse. Like, it seemingly points to the 7 base classes. So we'll see. But who knows? Lost belts always have counterforce servants running about, especially Atlantis. Yeah. What's the distinction between grand summons and counterforce summons? This really comes down to the difference between Alaya and Gaia. So Alaya is the will of humanity, which I believe is the counterforce, and Gaia is the will of the planet, which is the planet. The distinction here is Gaia is going to do everything it can to protect itself, even potentially from Alaya. Alaya is going to do everything it can to protect humanity. Grand Beast, Uno Reverse, Grand Servants. Well, that's exactly why. Like, I don't know, right? Like, that's an interesting idea of, like, what if we just make one of the beasts a Grand? Sure, in theory, that's possible. I just have no idea how that system's going to work. So it's like, I'm not going to immediately jump to conclusions and assume that that will be the case. Oh, I have a problem here on an A, and I'm going to make a blue apple because of it. Because, like, I need to roll before I actually, like, end up, like, doing Ember runs and stuff where I'm going to, like, lock myself out. Okay, chat, so let's go ahead and let's get rolling here. Now, we have GSSRs, and you guys know the GSSR is always the hard part for me. Always. What if we make Merlin a Grand? What does that do to the lore? It means you made Merlin a Grand in your version of the lore. I don't think it does anything to the lore at that point. Barton, thank you for the 74. Appreciate it. And Sleepy Ash, thank you for the 18. And Darty, thank you for the 71. Appreciate you guys. Okay, by class and noble phantasm type, and there are a total of 20 summons. Yeah, so you guys know I made the video about this. The video is meant to help you guys. It does nothing to freaking help me. So this is NP1. This is NP5, 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 NP2, NP0, and NP2. So we ain't rolling that one. Not if I can help it. This is NP3, NP5, NP2, NP5, NP1, and NP5. So that one's yuck too. This is NP5, NP3, and NP1. This is NP2, NP2, NP5, and NP3. At least I think 3. It may be 2, but I think it's 3. This is NP1, NP1, NP5, and NP1. This is NP2, NP1, NP0, NP1, and NP1. That's shockingly safe. This is NP0, NP5, and NP2, I think. Actually, it may just be NP1. She was really bad to me on NA. I think I'm thinking of JP with that. Bakin is NP2. Did I finish my Burskandar in NA? Did I NP5 him? I feel like I did. If not, he's NP2, but I feel like I NP5'd him. He is NP2. He is NP2. That one would also be safe depending on a Skandar. That is NP5, NP5, NP1, NP0, NP1, and NP0. NP5, NP1 or 2, and same thing here. NP5, NP5, NP2, NP2, NP like 4, I think. 1, 3, I think, and 1? NP1, NP5, and NP1. Man. NP2, NP5, NP2, 2, 5, and 5. That's a very good one, just not for me. This is like NP2 or 3. This is NP2, NP5. My Yang NP5? I don't remember. She's somewhere up there. I think that's NP2. Base Abby's NP2. It's at least NP2. NP5. NP5. 1, 1, 1, and 1. Did I NP5 Summer Scotty? I don't remember. He's NP4. 2, 2, 1, 2. It's at least 2 over here. I don't remember if it's 5 or not. Apparently there's a couple I need to look up. He's in P0 at the moment. In P like 3. In P5. In P5. In P2. And in P2. In P3. In P2. In P5. In P6. Don't ask. In P2 or 3 here. At least 2. Well. In P5, in P5, in P1, 1, and 1. And there you go. Alright, let's go take a look at some of these. What units did I need to double check the NP level on, chat? Didn't remember. Yeah, Skandar was 1. I don't need to check Summer Abbey. Oh, wait, hold on. Somehow my finger got into the wrong one there. Of course it was me. Alright, he's 2, so I never NP5'd him. I'm pretty sure he's 2 as well, but... No, he's just 1. Okay. Summer Skadoodle. He's 5. That said Yang. He's 2. Anyone else? Lesson number 1, never trust Cad when he's deciding a GSSR. That's not true. I'd say I'm like 50% trustable, okay? I wouldn't say I'm an untrustable. I'm like 50%. Which, like, if we're playing baseball, that's an amazing batting average. That puts this one in a better light, but Jalter's still there. That one, no, it's not worth. I was gonna say, y'all know I'm gonna get semi if I roll this. It's gonna be Cinny. This is like playing dodge the USO. And you could never really dodge it. Okay, she's still in P2. I wasn't sure. I had a sneaking suspicion. There's a couple of units that I just would in P5 if given the opportunity, and she's kind of one of them just due to how useful she is. Wasn't sure if I had already done it. I low-key wouldn't hate this, but made altars here, and that's like kind of a problem. Yeah, I think it's a clear-cut choice. I think it's this one. I just don't see otherwise like who it's gonna be. You won't go Lancer, consider Lartoria? No, I don't care. Like, the GSSR is a wash no matter what I do. Now he debates us. I didn't debate you. I literally, see chat, I told you, like 50% of the time I just do what I say I'm gonna do. Chat just always assumes I'm gonna debate them. It's the Lancer. That's Irish. Okay, I'll actually take that. Having NP2 of her really helps. NP1 does not freaking cut it. So that's definitely fine by me. JP was the outlier, exactly. Double? It's not gonna be a double chat. I got double on JP. There's no way I'm getting two doubles back to back. Yeah, that's like just in NP1 of Erish, especially like pre her NP interlude, it's just so freaking miserable. She's preparing for her costume. Well, that's fine, but I won't put her in it because I don't like the costume. I vastly prefer her in her original outfit. You've debated every time I've been here for GSSRs. Perhaps the commonality is you. I picked single target Lancer because Erish would have shown up again for yet another USO. Yeah, understandable. Yeah, I basically looked at this and said like, there's a Roma here that I could potentially grab. And that might save me from like one day rolling him just to pick him up on a whim. So I just kind of like looked at this and was just like, that is what it is. If I get somebody else, who cares? Dad debates every time he breathes. I do not, chat. Look, I did what I said, and I said what I did. There you go. Who was I going for? No one. If that makes any sense. Like, I literally, this one was just like, cool, I'm gonna get whoever I'm gonna get. It was that simple. Okay, so we got Nito Altar is here, but we have a sussy priest. So before we do that, actually, let me go buy the mana prism stuff. There we go. Gives me at least 20 tickets and a paid single. All right, now chat on Sussy Priest. I'm probably just going for like the token copy. He's not somebody I really feel the need to like go deep into. I like him for his kit. I don't really care too much for his like overall AoE performance. Do I have tofu for the catalyst? No. I'm just Catholic. It just is what it is. I don't need more of a catalyst to pull this priest. You are the catalyst? Pretty much, unfortunately. I'm Catholic didn't work? I wonder then. Neither took me to pity. No, I don't think I'm gonna roll Kodomine. You don't have to. Like, he's definitely like, he's a fun unit to use at times, but he is not a unit that you have to have. I would not, you know, like stretch to call him that. Cad, have you seen the Arturia musical? Yes, I have. It's amazing. Also, I just muted the sound. Because again, like, constant summon sounds do get a little bit annoying. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons I'm going a little bit lighter on him here. We went in P2 on Nito Altar, so... just FYI, chat, you cannot be spooked by Nito Altar when rolling for him. Was Russian Orthodox? True. But Kire Kotomine was, not. But you're right. Perhaps maybe that's the difference there. Yeah, she's not added to the permanent pool until her banner's done. Now, that being said, I'm also going to say that, like, they may not change any of the subsequent banners. Like, I don't remember exactly when Nito Altar's banner ended and whether or not that was before Tez's banner. But if it did end before Tez's banner, everything's fine. If it didn't end before Tez's banner, then she would have not been available permanently on Tez's banner. And I won't be surprised if they continue that on NA and they just don't make the adjustment. Nito had a one-day overlap? Yeah. Ready for Tez and Cuckoo? Good luck. I need my Serbian friend to do the roll for me then. Be careful. Would probably be a deterrent to him. See, here's the thing. Saying that Kodomine was a like bad representation of Catholicism and then somehow saying that Rasputin is Russian Orthodox, so that would count against you, makes zero sense. Because it implies that somehow Rasputin was a good representation of Russian Orthodoxy. And he was anything but. The more you know about Rasputin. What do you think NA players should be targeting in 2025? It's difficult, I'd say. Like, everyone's going to have to make their choice. I think, like, ideally, most players should probably be looking to acquire one of either one of either Cuckoo or Tiamat, and one of either Draco or Zertoria. I feel like if you get at least one of those two in each of those two pairs, you'll be a lot better off. Doesn't mean you need to have like the best, right? They're the perfect pair. Yeah, in that regard, they're very, very similar, right? Rasputin was a crazy homeless wizard. Yeah, that's one way of putting it. Is Cuckoo or Tiamat really necessary if someone has an NP5 ARC 120? Yes. Like, necessary? No. Is your NP5 120 Arcuid going to be able to do every node, though? That's the question you need to ask yourself. And I can tell you the answer is no. Planning to go Tiamat GSSR. She has GSSR selections. I mean, that's fine. Just keep in mind that that won't guarantee you a Tiamat. Their tray also comes with a likely chance of Summer Kuro as support. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I feel like you're probably going to see people obsess and say you have to have Summer Kuro. You do not. As somebody that has Summer Kuro and barely, if ever, uses her, you do not have to have her. There's nothing in the game that will require it. It's only quite literally if you want to like stretch to like the capacity of certain units as damage. And most of the time, you're not going to want to do that, even for things like farming and stuff, like in a high health node. You're gonna go like, holy crap, this is annoying. I don't want to do this. I want Miser's copy of Cuckoo and Miser's copy of Tiamat. I don't know what that means. From an objective standpoint, your 120 Mellison will not do every node either, right? Like, I know what chat's trying to say, like, hey, I'm mostly covered, right? You are. However, you're not completely covered. Why did I back out? Like, you're not going to be able to do every node. And this is the thing I've been trying to tell people for a while now. I think some people have justified going to NP5 of some of these units, thinking that they'll never have to roll anything else, and they're wrong. Lancer again. Hey, Percy. Unfortunately, this is my NA. If this was my JP, I'd be jumping for joy. But my NA already has NP5 of him. Hello, Rico. But Suzuka is hot, though. That's true. I mean, you can have the party cap available. It's just using Summer Kuro presents a number of challenges. It's not undoable. It's just enough that most people don't want to do it. Between Cuckoo and Tiamat, is there like a 100% way to tell who's better? No. They each have their upsides and their downsides. Oh yeah, some people do just MP5 because they like the character. That's perfectly fine. However, and hear me out in this chat, if you NP5'd, yeah, no, I'm just going to go ahead and say this. If you've NP5'd a character, you shouldn't be asking me if you need to roll another character. Why? Because it's like saying I spent all this money. What do you mean I have to spend money? I don't know. You've already popped your cherry. What does it matter? Like everybody has their break point. Don't get me wrong, but like if you're willing to spend money on the game, you're just willing to spend money. So at that point, I don't view it nearly as like, oh man, hey, the free to play asking me, do they need to acquire one copy of one of these units or not at all, compared to the person that's rolling like NP5, right? If you've rolled NP5 a unit, no, I assume you spent money. And when you can spend money, then money is the answer. That unfortunately just is what it is. Is my NP5 Jekyll and Hyde enough, though? Yes. Actually, you can do the entire game with your NP5 Jekyll and Hyde. You're not going to like it, but you can do it. Do I need to roll for Tiamat? Yeah, you probably should if all you have is an Angry Man. Exactly. Someone's already figured out my grand plans. I have NP5 Space Ishtar and NP5 Summer Musashi. Do I need Cuckoo? No. Like, did you actually need me to answer that question? I got lucky hitting their banners GSSR left and right, not a whale. Not a whale versus spent money on the game. So I want to declare here, you told me not a whale. You didn't tell me free to play. So I assumed you still spent money there. And again, I don't like, you had the capacity to go get two of the better like catch-all loopers to NP5. This is a decision you have to make for yourself. What rarity do you think Lancer Alter Summer will be? Ooh, I hope it's a 5-star, but I would like to see them do some justice to Lancer Alter, but we'll see, right? Like, I think she is going to get a summer unit. I hope it's this year. We'll see what they do with it. Grace Sama, thank you for the follow. Nah, I didn't say it earlier, but Transpace, thank you for the 32. Space Lady is Banner 2 of Part 2. You can stay free to play as long as you're not spending your own money. That's what my lawyer said. Bro. So it's like the meme of like the it's like me showing my me a stay-at-home dad showing my my Fortune 500 industry executive wife the newest SSR in the gacha that I play, asking her if I can get it. Like, yeah, I'm not spending my own money. I'm totally free to play. It's just all of my wife's money, right? Like, I get MP4 Mellison despite being relatively free to play. Yeah, I mean, that, like, it's possible to get it. I'm not gonna say you can't get to NP5 with, like, again, a free to play mindset. It's just unlikely. Usually when someone walks into chat and says I have an NP5 of this or that unit, they're very likely to be somebody that spent money on the game. I'm going to say like it's almost like greater, probably it's probably like 99% odds that the person has spent money on the game. What? 4-star C. Having a Cuckoo would be better than having a Tiamat and vice versa. If it's within the niche that Cuckoo provides, like Earth niche, super effective. It's Berserkers or something like that. And even then, you could still have scenarios where, like, Tiamat's still going to function well. You could definitely find yourself in a scenario where it's a pretender as well that you're up against. So that sort of thing can be a thing. And it has been a thing as we've gone forward. I do want to stress to chat that as we move into this year, we are stepping forward into Ordeal Call. And I don't want to get like story spoiler with you guys, but the major mechanic / gimmick of Ordeal Call focuses on extra classes. So it's why you have seen like so many of them on JP, especially here of late. That does get reflected in farming nodes. That does get reflected in events and stuff like that. So if people are telling you, oh, you don't need the extra classes, they're not right. You absolutely are going to start to need them here coming up. It's not like super imperative that you have like the most broken version of every single one of those extra classes. It's just you probably need decent options for each one. Cuckoo's kit has so many buttons though, then don't get Cuckoo. Like I can't stress this to you guys enough. If you don't like Cuckoo, don't get Cuckoo. Kel, the app does not show need to alter in the pool for Cuckoo's banner either. That's interesting because she should have been around for that. But yeah, it's difficult to say like what it is they were doing with that. Oh, just enough. By the way, I don't know if anyone is keeping track. Because I certainly haven't been. Did GSSR happen? GSSR already happened. We got Erish. Yeah, this is Kire. Think how the app would be wrong. That's again, and that's the only thing I can say is that be careful because like even stuff like Chaldea app has been wrong before. You guys, the best tool is still only as good as like again the users and the people that are actually inputting the info. If the user isn't smart enough to catch errors, the tool is going to suck. If the people putting in the info aren't smart enough to catch errors, the tool is going to suck. So Chaldea app is just sort of the best tool we have available. It does not mean it's perfect. Did I buy New Year since I started rolling? You mean like the grab bag and stuff? Yeah. Trust but verify strikes again. Mm-hmm. Surprised it took someone this long to actually song request this. There we go. There's the 5-star. Ra ra Rasputin, lover of the Russian queen. Ugh, my voice. Oh. See, like, alter ego is going to make me perk up, even though it is Shufu. Whenever it's silver like that, it has the chance to still spark. Getting Cuckoo as a wife gameplay bonus. I mean, honestly, I'm gonna say this based purely off story that NA has so far. I'm actually generally surprised by the overall sentiment in chat with regards to certain characters. I actually expected this to be almost 180 degrees the opposite direction. So I've been both pleasantly surprised and somewhat bewildered by it. Let me real quick here, chat, go farm a node. Looks like I have to switch which field I'm farming in. Okay, there we go. Now we're off JP. Oh, those the Russian. Thought that was like for the first couple notes there. I thought that was gonna be Secret Agent Man. And I was like, well, I guess that kind of fits. Okay. The field is farmed. Yeah, does anyone actually know how deep I am? Because I think we had 20 tickets, a paidless single, however much quartz I had, and then I converted fragments for one more multi. Ugh. Okay. I saw the blue at the bottom right there and I went like, oh no. I was about to lose it. John Scare, yeah. John chat is my most spooked units. I love that scene so much. Curse of the Bunny Folk. Battle Pass FGO is diabolical. I think some people would love a Battle Pass in this game. I understand why busier folk would want it. I, however, would not. Because, like, I do not have any trouble farming anything in this game. I just, again, assume people are not patient. Rulers do like blue, don't they? Yeah, to a large degree. I don't understand what a battle pass is. Let me explain a battle pass to you. A battle pass is where we have an in-game economy full of like items and things that you want, and we carve some of that out, set it aside, and charge you more money for it. That's a battle pass. Yeah, neato. I wouldn't mind a $5 monthly thing to buy St. Quartz as a dolphin, but that might be unpopular. Yeah, I mean, like I've said it before, you can have something like that. The biggest reason that that gets criticized on like Genshin in particular is because Genshin doesn't have like an actual like login bonus. And so that's where a lot of people just attribute like, oh, well, the Welkin Moon has become their login bonus, but you now have to pay for it. I think like there's technically no issue with that. All that is it's just basically another one of those quote unquote gateway packs, as we like to call it, where like it's designed to get you to loosen your wallet and to spend money. So it's like you can either buy a pack straight up, or you can pay for this pack essentially over time and get it that way. God, this is so many golds here. Hi, Astolfo. We just saw you on JP. So it's like you could totally do it. Like the issue at play with all of these systems, like with a battle pass, with a Welkin Moon style like subscription for currency. What the heck is this roll? Like I don't even need it either, and that's what sucks. Like the issue with these things is you're trusting the developers not to take advantage of you as the consumer, where the entire purpose of those systems is meant to take advantage of the consumer. Can it be done without doing so? Absolutely yes. Don't hold your breath that it will be. So it's like when you ask for that to be put in the game, you almost are like giving the developer free reign to like stranglehold part of the economy, or again to like basically stop giving out as much free currency to incentivize you to spend that money. Like I think what we're beginning to actually see here, and it started honestly, I want to say it really started like last year with like Helldivers. Helldivers became super popular. It's a live service game, and Helldivers had a unexpiring like system of like battle pass type stuff. It didn't cost jack shit really to participate in. You could earn all of the currency in game, and that made a lot of people really happy. They actually felt valued by the game. They didn't feel like they were being taken advantage of. And you've started to see this translate into other games. Like I know people have recently been talking about like Marvel Rivals having an unexpiring battle pass and stuff like that in it. So it's like I'm actually hoping that we're on the upswing here, that like we're trending more back towards sanity, because we've been absolutely on the like corporate greed side of things for like the past 5+ years at least. And it's not that we didn't have any of it before that point. It's just that we hit rock bottom like 5 years ago, and we have been sitting at the bottom of the ocean. So like I'm hoping that we're beginning to float back up to the surface, and we're finally going to get a breath of fresh air. Bro K-scope, I know. Do you think FGO should be giving away more SR and SSR tickets than they do already? No. And I'm actually like, okay, chat. If you feel that way, change my mind. Like show me a game where there's more given out. Like more free SR and SSRs every year. I'm not saying there isn't one. I'm saying like show me. Like give me the example of like how it works for those other games. Because I actually feel like, again, like FGO is actually unironically one of just the most generous gacha games out of everyone I've ever played. It doesn't mean that there aren't like other systems that other games do better, but I feel like FGO actually just gives away a whole crap ton of stuff. Star Rail, Nikkei? Okay, so do they actually? Like how many free units were given to you over the past year in, say, Nikkei? LB7 gave out like 10 choosable SSR tickets from everything. That's friggin' wild. Like, are you meaning like across all the years? Yeah, Azure Lane is the one that, like, if someone mentioned that one, I don't have a good counter for it. Because everything I've understood about Azure Lane is that you have a building system in that game that people use more frequently than the gacha system. And the way Azure Lane makes its money is, again, off of skins. So yeah, thank you, Toby, for bringing that up. So Toby brought up, chat, the fact that FGO gives out welfare servants, which was going to be my gotcha moment for someone that tried to, like, go in hard on that. People have a tendency to forget that FGO, like, almost every event gives you a free unit. And that you can basically nowadays, especially with the Evocation Festival, you can pretty much play the entire game with these units. You get a meta DPS and a pretty good support for starting. Okay, I mean, you get a free 4-star and a pick your own 5-star for starting. So I'd say that's pretty similar at that point. There's also a purchase item every 100 story summons. You can buy one of 3 meta units. Yeah, that's not free, chat. I hate to break that to you. Holy shit, that's not free. If you can't realize that, I've got a bridge to sell you. If you cannot look at, you get X every X summons, that's not free. That's like saying a GSSR is free. No, it's not. That's the whole point to it. It's like, oh, it's guaranteeable, but you have to have paid. Is dock space? Yeah. Yeah, Girls Frontline 1 did have a build system as well. Over the last year, we got 10 selectable SSRs in Epic 7. Okay, and don't take this the wrong way, especially if you're somebody that plays Epic 7, but I know no one that plays Epic 7 anymore. Like literally, I know no one. There's not a single person that I know of that still plays the game actively. I'm going to go ahead and say Epic 7 is probably in that, like, we need to start making radical moves in order to get players. And I don't blame them for that. I think this is basically what happens to any game where its popularity has faded over the years. Particularly if it gets to, like, a bad point, right? Actually, remember the whole reason I quit Epic 7 was PvP and equipment grinding. Yeah, that's basically the two knocks against it I've always heard. And like again, I'm not trying to say Epic 7 bad game or anything like that. I'm just pointing out I'm not surprised to hear that Epic 7 is giving stuff away based off of everything I've heard about its current, like, situation. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I remember about Arc Knights in particular is that Arc Knights apparently, like, isn't it more expensive per pack than FGO? But that's, like, the only thing I ever really remember hearing about it. Because I think the pity is lower, but the packs are higher. Isn't Epic 7 super PvP focused? I don't know that it always has been, but it may be now. Again, I don't play it regularly. Yeah. Yeah, I got you, X-Knight. Does this guy even exist on Summon? We're gonna find out. PvP in every gacha turns into a win fest. I agree. Entirely because of how similar they are. Oh, listen, chat. Like, people have tried to like sit there and like tell me all these things like Honkai Star Rail better than FGO, yada yada yada. I'm like, guys, it's literally just FGO. I don't know why people can't see that. I just assume it's like, hey, it's really popular. It's got that shiny brand new smell, and so like a lot of people are just always trying to like convince everybody. Like, there's almost like peer pressure whenever a new gacha game comes out for people to like get everybody else to play it. Whereas, like, again, like I've been playing Girls Frontline 2. I don't sit here and like tell everyone to play Girls Frontline 2 constantly because I just don't do that to people. But there is a thing where I've noticed this is just a pervasive thing in the gacha community. And it's like, I'm not saying Honkai Star Rail's bad, but I am going to say Honkai Star Rail's a ripoff, and it absolutely is. And, you know, people can get upset over me saying that, but it is the truth. And you can look no further than literally their most recent unit that they came out with. PvP is the main focus of Epic 7. Yeah. Yeah, it's straight up, it's Gilgamesh at home. It's one of the most like one-to-one stolen designs I've ever seen in a gacha game. I think there's features FGO should take from HSR. Oh yeah, like I'm not talking about like the quality of the two games at all. I heard HSR has been power crept to hell and back. I mean, chat would have to tell me again. I don't play HSR anymore. I tried it out when it first came out, but my understanding of all of the MiHoYo products is that they just don't do buffs, which is the most like asinine thing ever to me. But it is what it is. And the reason why, so like in FGO, you have the promise of a old unit basically getting brought up to speed and being like perpetually good over time. Whereas like in a game where you don't ever buff, you just have perpetual power creep, and the units that you rolled for back in year one will always be hot garbage compared to the units that you've rolled for in the most recent year. Like that just seems logical to me. So it's one of the reasons that I just would not play a MiHoYo game. Came back to FGO a month ago because of the story. Hey, it is what it is. I actually really like the story in FGO, but I really want them to wrap up part 2. They've been dragging this one along for a long time. Did I go for Juan GFL2? Yeah, I already got her. I got her and I got her weapon. Hoyo makes a character to make money, and yeah, 100%. Like, look, this is just going to turn into a Hoyo bashing session, so I don't want it to do that because I know some of you guys really like it. I just, whenever this sort of thing comes up and we start like comparing, especially HSR to FGO, I almost feel obligated to point out that, like, yes, it is derivative of FGO, like 100%. And if people don't see that, they have their blinders on at that point. Nikkei is buff, but less often. Yeah, I haven't really heard about Nikkei doing that, so that's good to hear that they do it at least. I think like, hello pimp. I think it's a good thing for a gacha game to buff, especially if you're not going to have like PvP. Actually, no. Let me retract that. Doubly so if you have PvP. If you have PvP in your game, you absolutely have to buff. Yeah, we already did GSSR. I got Areshkigal. Where do I know this song from? Ghost in the Shell standalone complex. And I know that just from hearing it. But I did go and add it to the playlist. Power creep thing is fuzzier than that. It's been both understated and overstated. But I can tell you when it comes to power creep, their greatest sin is HI3. Yeah, probably, right? Like, I know in general, there's always the incentive for a developer to power creep to an extent. And one of the good parts about FGO, and I do mean this, I think FGO launched in such a bad state that they had to start drastically implementing upgrades immediately because the community demanded it. Unfortunately, I don't believe that MiHoYo has ever actually had pressure on them to do so. The one time they did that I can remember was Zhongli. And I think that one only got done because Zhongli was functionally like the Chinese representation in the game. But, like, I actually think that pressure leads to good things because it's the players holding the developer accountable. Hello, Herc. That's probably going to be the most picked Grand Berserker right there. E7 also nerfs characters? Yeah, don't do that. Never nerf. Never nerf. Nerfing is the stupidest thing ever. I think the only thing that you could ever do to nerf would be like if you, in preliminary testing before the release of the unit, had determined that the unit was overly strong, you could nerf it then, but that's not really a nerf. That's a pre-launch adjustment. Get out here getting one of every 4-star. It's because there's no actual rate up on the anti-manners for 4 stars. The same thing happened on JP. I think DPS power creep will slowly in FGO, but not sure about sports. I mean, I'm not going to say FGO has been perfect on this. FGO absolutely has power creep. It's one of the most annoying aspects for me. Rainbow. Please turn around and be the right class. All right, there we go. I was like, as long as I think as long as it turned around and it was alter ego, I was fine because there's no permanent alter ego, right, chat? Or am I misremembering? Oh, we gotta get Joji's lines in here.
私はことみね神父グレゴリー・ラスプーチンとして君のもとに来訪した。喜びたまえ。私も嬉しい。戦いで力になることは少ない。
What the heck was that line?
人生の指針、日常生活の補強には一加減ある身だ。今後ともよろしく。おや、納得のいかない顔だが、少々早い召喚だったかな。
Sweet. I'll take it. Shouldn't be 25 tickets, Menace. Because I never spent the extra 5. You can stop now? I am stopping now. And I'm dead serious. Like, chat, Rasputin's really, really nice. But so much of what he does is like right here, particularly right here, that like I don't need the extra MP levels. He's a very fun unit to use. I would like basically categorize him as Necro Memes the unit. He is very, very much a, you know, the battle is over when I die, but I'm not gonna die type unit. Can I have that Marie copy? Sure. Yeah, how do you propose a trade? Because I don't see any other way to give her to you. Let me see if any of these, so obviously Erish is. Yep, nope. Every single one of those 4 stars is a rare prism. That's wild.
いらっしゃい。時間は戻らないものだ。最終確認はしっかりしたかい？
The one I'm surprised about is Kin Leong Yu, but your GSSR was Erish? Yep.
うんうん。
Funny that you got Herc in the same pool. He was the prelude? Probably. He was probably waiting to bash his face in. I love Rasputin. He's even strong in MP1. Yeah, I think Rasputin, you're not going after him mostly for like the crazy like NP damage that you're gonna see with other units. Like he's not gonna beat Tiamat in a damage race. You're literally going after him because he has a fun kit and because he's a fun character. I'm not gonna comment on anything Strange Fake spoilers. When you click to upgrade, it would auto filter out any units that are NP5 when you level up the NP. What do you mean? Like, so the way I always do it, chat, is the very first thing is I go in here, I go to the Noble Phantasm department, I look in here, and I look at like the units that are available. If the unit is already NP5, no other unit will display here. If the unit is not NP5, the other version of that unit will appear right next to them. Does that make sense? So like, if we had this Artoria here and I had an NP4 Artoria, her other version would appear right next to her. So it's one of the easy ways to tell. And if you're ever in doubt, you can always like go and filter it down and make sure, but this is definitely the way that it actually does it. Ooh, story time? Nope. Still not story time, chat. Because now I get to finally go over Strange Fake Saber that I've been holding off on for a minute here. Now, I told you guys I was going to try not to spoil, but it, again, like, you can't do anything when JP names the unit the true name. Which is big sad, but it just is what it is. I'm actually surprised they still haven't brought back Cranking or Ocean Flyer in the JP shop. Let me mute that real fast. Row, take a shower. Row, take a shower. Anti-spiral. Bob, why? Oh yeah, just real quick for JP news, for those of you guys that hadn't seen. They did announce, like, it's functionally going to be like class banners is almost the way it's going to work. So you guys can expect, like, again rate ups the like, hey, we know for basically for January we're going to be getting the Saber units, the Archer units, and the Ruler units. Sorry, I'm asking Avalon for a last second adjustment. All right, chat. Pop quiz. What do you think the top 3 AoE damage sabers are outside of niche? Yeah, that's just dumb. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to throw in one more here. Thank you, Avalon. Okay, let's go ahead and get this started. Hey guys, my name's Khadroth, and today I'm going to be talking to you about Fate Strange Fake Saber, aka Richard the First, King of England, or Richard the Lionhearted. Richard's a really interesting character. I was going to try to avoid spoilers for him, but it becomes very difficult with regards to at least the naming conventions of this unit, since JP has decided to just come out and reveal his name. It just is what it is. So I'm going to say that if people did not want spoilers on Richard, they were probably best, served by just avoiding anything Fate related in that regard for the time being. But it is what it is. I'm not going to spoil you guys as to Strange Fake story or anything like that. I will say there has been some questions with regards to this unit's third ascension. This is not a Strange Fake spoiler. Narita came out and actually said this is something wholly unique to FGO, so you don't have to worry about anything in regards to that. But yeah, Richard the First. He is our New Year's unit this year. He is a limited Saber, as you guys can see. And he is yet another AoE Buster Saber. Now, at this point, this sort of requires me to go ahead and just state off the rip here that no, you do not have to get Richard the First. He's a very strong AoE Saber, but he is absolutely a dime a dozen in that sense. And maybe one of the more disappointing aspects of Richard is that he doesn't actually do anything truly unique. He is just a very, very solid AoE Buster Saber. So, with that in mind, let's go ahead and talk about him, where he is strong, and again, how to actually use him properly. We're going to talk everything about him, basically going through his kit here to begin with. So, starting off with the stats, you guys can actually see he starts out with over 12k attack. This is definitely a very good number. It's pretty much to be expected for some of our Sabers, and it is up there in the sort of upper echelon of Sabers in that regard. It's not the highest by any stretch, but it is within about 200 to 300 of the top. So again, it is a really, really nice stat to have, especially for a unit that will both card and crit hard, and you're definitely going to see that shine through. He trades this, though, for relatively anemic HP. He has only 13.6 as a SSR. This is pretty bad. We normally expect better. So, again, this is something to be concerned with. His attribute is Man. He has 99 star absorption, which is one less than the average for the class, and basically 10.4 star generation, which is right on average. His NP charge attack is basically 0.56 here. Normally with Buster units, we expect a little bit more. But again, I don't think it's a huge concern. His performance will actually be pretty good, and his hit counts are solid. We'll look at those more in a second. He has NP charge defense, the standard amount of 3%, death rate of 24.5, which is pretty much right on average, and alignment of lawful balanced. This is interesting because balanced is not a very easily exploitable or beneficial alignment, so it is something to pay attention to that he does have that. He's male gendered. His traits are Hominidae, Servant, Humanoid, Sovereign, aka the King trait, Loved One, Riding, Normal Servant, 7 Night Servant, which is the Draco buff, and Weak to Intima Elish, which is the Gil buff. So, looking at the actual deck here, he has sort of your standard deck. He's got Double Buster, Double Quick with a singular Arts card. Thankfully, though, the hit counts on the NP gaining cards here are very good, with the Quick card coming in at 5 hits, especially considering he has the Riding trait on top of that. His Quick card performance will actually be quite good. And again, the arts card performance there should be certainly acceptable. The issue is going to be that he only has the one of it. But he does at least have the double buster cards here, which also have good hit counts, at least for star generation. But again, could be something that could help him out in terms of firing off buster crits after his NP, or again, just any sort of damage amplification that you might want. Having the buster cards always good for a buster unit. And right there, he's also got a 5-hit extra attack. Nothing too crazy, but you will see, basically as we go through the kit, that he kind of has the ability to boost every single one of his cards. The extra card is going to be the only thing that he can't really boost very much, but he does at least have things like attack up, as you see here. So starting off with the first skill, he increases the party's attack for 3 turns by 20%. This would kind of be comparable to like the charisma buff that some of the other Sabers like OG Saber have. And it's definitely solid in that regard, but you can also see that he has other stuff here, including party NP gen rate. This is a rather odd inclusion on a buster unit, but it's still better to have it than not. You never know when you're going to need NP gen, when a run falls apart, or when you're in a knockdown, drag out fight. So it's definitely nice to have, and that one's going to be scaling up to 20%. He increases the party's critical star generation rate as well for 3 turns by another 20%. And then will grant himself an on-attack activate buff for 3 turns that basically will increase his own critical star generation rate by 30% for 3 turns whenever he attacks. This is definitely nice. This will stack, and this is something that he's going to be able to achieve relatively easy. So it is a nice aspect to it. It means that his star generation will just kind of go up from there. So the fact that he actually started with sort of the class's base star gen value rather than underneath it, definitely nice, and maybe even an oversight on the devs' part in that regard. All of this on a 6-turn cooldown, meaning you can activate it on turns 1 and 3 in a Koyan Skya system, or if you get his 5th append, that you can activate it on turns 1 and 2, which is definitely interesting in that regard. Taking a look at the second skill here, and this is going to change things a little bit. So this is going to be his tricolor buff, his steroid for all 3 of the cards that he has. And again, he is going to have quick arts and buster performance up for 3 turns by 20% each. Neither of these 2 steroids particularly strong, but again, when you start to consider adding these up and doubling them in a Koyan Skya setup, it actually is quite the strong setup, and it doesn't stop there, as you're also going to get the increase to his own NP damage for 3 turns by a whopping 30%. This is particularly strong because, again, you can double it up in a Koyan Skya setup. It's got a 3-turn duration, so it'll last throughout the entire time. And Oberon is going to double the amount of the NP damage for Wave 3. So this is really, really a good thing for him to have. And it's going to be one of the reasons that, as you guys look, Richard will actually scale just amazingly well as you guys go to use him. Again, all of this on a 6-turn cooldown, and that is significant because the last effect of this skill is that it will reduce the target's cooldowns by 1. So, again, this does mean it's a targeted skill. None of the rest of it is targeted, though. It's all going to be on him. However, when you get the choice to choose a target, you can choose him, and therefore you can reduce his own skill cooldowns. You could also use this to reduce someone else's if you so chose. It's totally up to you. This does make him at least have some potential interesting uses alongside, again, say someone like Arcuid or anyone else that's kind of sitting there with that like 7-turn cooldown, but they don't really have their 5th append. You can maybe make use of him in some sort of multi-damage dealer type of setup with him, that other unit, and then maybe a double Koyan Skya, and it would be able to work for you. Now, with that in mind, again, this is definitely something that's going to change things a little bit for him, and the reason why I'll talk about here in a minute, but let's go ahead and let's get through the third skill first so you guys can see everything here. So talking about the third skill, it's going to charge his own NP gauge by up to 30%, so this is going to make him very similar to Artoria, Mordred, again, some of the other 30% chargers that are out there. The one way in which he's going to be really different than them, though, is he does not have charge after his NP like they do. That's one of the reasons they can kind of Black Grail loop at times, again, with things like Rising Mud Rain, or having somebody in there like Summer Kuro to be able to rotate the party. He might be able to do it with something like Summer Kuro, but he's not going to be able to do it in the ways that they can. So it is at least a point of differentiation between the two, and it's probably one of the ways that they tried to maybe hold him back a little bit. But again, still having the 30% charge means that we can 3-turn from at least a 50% starting charge standpoint. However, this will make you want to get and unlock his mana loading append. It's also going to increase his critical star absorption for buster cards for 3 turns and critical damage for his buster cards for 3 turns. Again, 500% on the buster absorption and 50% on the buster crit there. Definitely not anything to be, sneezed at. It's the 3-turn duration again. So you pop at turn 1, you pop at turn 3, and there you go. By turn 3, this man's going to be having basically 100% extra buster crit built into his kit. I do wish this was crit overall and not just specific to Buster, especially given that the rest of his kit is kind of this whole tricolor thing where it's like, hey, we're going to try to buff the entire deck. It is what it is. Again, they're kind of just trying to make him a little bit more Buster-centric in that regard, so I don't really blame him, but that would have been a way to make him potentially better. From here, he's also going to just have a crit star bomb in addition to this, up to 20 stars. Really not too much of a concern, because again, in a standard sort of farming Buster setup, you're very likely to have stars rolling around. So nothing too crazy, but it's there if you need it, if you just need to manufacture a crit at the right time on the right turn. So again, all of this on a 6-turn cooldown. Now, again, if you guys remember, I talked about for each of these being on a 6-turn cooldown, you can pop them on turns 1 and 3. If you have the 5th append, you can pop them on turns 1 and 2. But with the second skill reducing cooldowns, you can in theory pop them all on turn 1. What does that mean? Well, let's explain. So with regards to the second skill here and the cooldown reduction, this is probably going to be Richard's biggest point of differentiation. That is to say, it's going to allow him to potentially store things up and pop them all on one turn. This may not be the best of circumstances, though, because when we start considering charging applications in a farming setup, you definitely need the charge to occur at the right times. So really, you don't really want to do this sort of thing, as it would mean delaying things in effect until a later turn. And there's no real benefit to that. Just go ahead and pop them as they're ready as soon as possible, because again, you've got the multi-turn duration, so you're gaining a lot of benefit there. The one use we really can think of it is when we're talking about one-shot damage. And what does that mean? That's basically when you just need all of your firepower in one turn. That's where this would actually be really, really nice. So a scenario like maybe a raid or a just, one-off sort of boss nuke type deal. But again, at that point, why are you using an AoE Saber for that? Maybe it's an AoE raid. Maybe it's a boss with some side ads or something like that. It could be the case. But either way, this does allow him to potentially get all of his skills effects on turn 1 should you need it. You're just not going to have the best charging scenario if you do that. But if you don't care about a subsequent turn, it's there. So this does mean that he's versatile. He basically has this flexibility to be able to, again, work normally in a conventional setup and still sort of front load his damage, or completely front load or completely backload it depending on the situation. That's, again, probably one of Richard's best aspects, as he does have that sort of flexibility already built into his kit. His passive skills here, he doesn't actually have that much, which is maybe a little bit surprising. He gets Magic Resistance B for some standard debuff resistance, and then Writing A to further boost that 5-hit quick card that he has, actually 2 quick cards that he has. So again, really, really good there for star generation and damage output. Taking a look at the append skills, I think by far and away, things like the mana loading append, absolutely awesome for you to have, as again, that's going to be that 20% on the front end of his 30% charge. That is going to allow him to start from a 50% charge standpoint. And again, it's going to be one of the things that's going to be kind of required for you to do that. However, there is also the option of the 5th append. I think this is probably your next one up for something that you should look at, particularly if you want to do that sort of one-shot damage thing that we were just talking about. Getting the 5th append unlocked will be really helpful in that regard. With regards to the third one being anti-rider attack damage aptitude, there's no synergy here. I don't really recommend it. It's not that good. The fourth append with the extra critical damage could be nice. Same thing with the extra attack performance. Either of these might, kind of fit into his already like crit-centric kit, or again, tricolor buff type deal where you're maybe trying to Brave Chain with him. Either of these two things can be a good one to pick up, but to me, they're kind of sort of third behind basically the second append and the fifth append. With regards to the Noble Phantasm, Richard has a 5-hit AoE Buster NP. It's going to increase the critical damage by 50% for 3 turns, activating first. This doesn't really matter because it wouldn't matter even if you put a card in front of the NP. It won't activate until you actually NP. So the fact that it activates first just is what it is, but it's certainly nice to have. In this regard, this is exactly what we were talking about with the third skill, the fact that it is an unaspected crit up. It's definitely nice for him to get. And given the fact that it is a 3-turn duration, this does mean by turn 3, you're going to have 150% of this with any sort of cards following up the NP. And that's in addition to the extra 100% he's going to have on his Buster cards from the third skill, and maybe even more from the supports. So again, there is a lot of firepower there, and he is going to be carding and critting very hard thanks to this. So from there, he's going to deal damage to all enemies. He's going to put a burn of 2,000 damage on them. This does open up things like Honey Lake, but he's not really going to be someone that's going to want to start from 0 a lot, so I don't necessarily recommend that, but it is an option for you. And then overcharge effect here, you guys can see he's going to reduce all enemies' quick, arts, and buster resistance for 3 turns. It's only 10%, but it is something. This will make him card harder after his NP. And thankfully, due to the multi-turn duration, while this doesn't actually impact the first NP itself, this would impact subsequent NPs and subsequent carding if you're going up against the same set of enemies turn after turn. So again, like in a challenge scenario or a scenario in which you have break bars at play, you're going to be able to potentially stack these resists down. So it's definitely something that can help him out in terms of his overall damage and carding performance. So again, definitely a nice NP and something that you all should look forward to using. Now, with regards to Craft Essence recommendations, as we already denoted, he is going to be somebody that's really going to want to start from 50. That's going to make cranking sort of your best case scenario. This is, however, an older event CE at this point on JP. It has not been permanently added back to the shop yet, but who knows, maybe in the future they will. It is all attack scaling, starting charge of 50%, NP damage up of 15%, and buster up of 8% more. So again, a little bit more MP damage to allow Oberon to work his magic. Aerial Drive's another option. This one is permanently in the shop. It's also all attack scaling. Basically the exact same effects, just 5% less NP damage, but 2% more buster up. Sweet Crystal is going to be the one you're probably going to want to go to. This one's also in the shop, but it's going to cost you a whopping 25 rare prisms total in order to MLB it. This one is going to be a 50% charging all attack scaling CE that has invincibility pierce. Definitely going to be nice if something's kind of getting in the way of Richard and stopping him. And then Holy Night Supper is also another permanent option for you. This one will basically trade out the Buster Up for some additional crit damage. So it's there in case you're maybe needing to follow up with cards and crits. So it is still another decent option that is permanently available for you guys. Now, with regards to his charging scenarios, let's go ahead and talk about that. It's really straightforward. Nothing too much to write home about. It's a double Koyanskaya Oberon setup with a 50% CE. As we already denoted, you're going to basically start out with a 50% CE with his mana loading append. That's going to bring you up to 70 to begin with. Then Richard's going to pop his first 30% charge skill. You're going to use both the Koyanskaya buffs on him, and then he's going to fire off the NP the first time. From there, you're going to go ahead and basically do double Koyanskaya charge skills on him. That's going to bring him up to full again. You can go ahead and rotate for the Oberon now or wait until wave 3 to do it, but either way, you're going to fire off the second NP. From there, he's going to have all of his skills back. You're going to pop him again. He's going to get 30% charge again. And basically the 70% from Oberon will complete the loop here as we basically get the third NP off and get to, again, capitalize on that sweet Oberon damage. So, speaking of damage, how is Richard going to look in that regard, and how is he going to stand up in comparison to some of his competition? Well, you guys can see here is Richard's self buffs only. This is neutral damage. This is not including any sort of external buffing from a command code, a craft essence, a mystic code, a support caster, anything like that. It's just Richard with his own buffs against a neutral target. And you can see here, he actually does scale quite nicely, but this is just pretty much par for the course. Where his scaling will take off is when we actually put him into a composition. And to give you guys an idea of what that will look like, you guys can see, again, here is basically going to be how Richard's going to work in an actual comp. These are still neutral numbers, but these now include Koyanskaya, Oberon buffs, your Mystic Code, your Craft Essence, all of that here. So you guys can see Richard basically at NP1 on wave 1, only going to do about 63k. This is definitely worrisome, but not that crazy considering almost all of the units out there will have at least some worrisome damage wave 1. Usually, though, wave 1 is a very low health wave, thankfully. By wave 2, he's already managed to probably get his second skill back again, and you're already looking at him getting that nice oomph and increase in damage there. So he's already up to almost 100k. And then wave 3, it basically just skyrockets, as again, you get that nice synergy there with Oberon's third skill, as well as basically all those NP damage ups that he has from doubling up his second skill in his kit. So while, yes, he can't access something like Black Grail, he can still do very respectable damage. Now, we do have the man niche here as well, thanks to Koyanskaya, so that would be a thing, even though Richard himself does not have a niche. But then NP2 is kind of what I want to show you guys here, is you guys can see the scaling difference it's already making. And then potentially there by wave 3, you get quite a bit of difference there, almost 100k in that regard, as again, Oberon and that interaction there with the additional NP level really beginning to scale well. So that's one of the takeaways of Richard. He's not your most powerful AoE Saber, but he actually does scale quite nicely. And you can see by NP5, it actually does scale up quite a bit in terms of overall firepower. So how does this stack up with relation to some of the other Sabers? Well, here's OG Artoria. Again, OG Artoria does have two options here, sort of the standard cranking and then the sort of like, hey, I've got lucky in the gacha and managed to get MLB Mud Grail. If you managed to have Mud Rain already at MLB, good for you. She's definitely somebody that can loop with that in mind. And you can see it's one of the things that causes some interesting stuff here. So she's actually going to be a little bit less on wave 1 than Richard. She'll be stronger than him on wave 2 and stronger than him on wave 3. However, the thing to denote here is if we go back and we look at Richard's numbers, say even for NP2, you can see here he's at 356 compared to the 267 he was at. Well, the 267 got beat pretty squarely, but by NP2, we're already at 341. We're kind of closing that gap a little bit. So it is something to denote there that he has basically managed to sort of leapfrog her essentially by NP2 already. And that is that NP damage up. That's that scalability that he's got going for him. However, the second we start using Mud Rain, the numbers start getting better. The weird dip in her wave 2 numbers has to do with the timing of when she needs to pop stuff due to using Koyanskaya charge skills. So your wave 2 ends up a little bit weaker when you're using something like Black Grail or Mud Grail in the case of the Artorias, but it does end up resulting in higher wave 3 damage, and you can see that that composition will result in her dealing more output as a result. The same thing can be said for Mordred. As you guys can actually see, she's actually pretty much right on target with him. She's stronger in waves 1 and 2 and pretty much dead even with him in wave 3. She does have niches though, at least in play, so that is something, but she doesn't get to use them very often, and usually they're not an effective niche. And then in P2 here, you can see she actually falls off a little bit in terms of damage performance, so he will beat her there in that regard. But same deal, she also has a Mudgrail composition that can work for her, and boom, there you go. Already you're up to 350, and by NP2 you're up to 438. Now, taking a look at Arthur himself just got recent buffs on JP. You guys can see he's only sitting at about 229. Arthur's still got quite a bit of a way to go. It's unfortunate. He really does still need an NP interlude. That's one of the biggest things they could do for him at this point. And that would essentially make his NP2 into his NP1. And you can see just how much that would actually help his overall output. But it is something they need to do. For Ibuki, in comparison, she also only has a cranking composition that works for her. And outside of her undead niche, she is much more in a precarious spot. She's not a bad unit by any means, but this is definitely one of those deals where Ibuki is kind of falling behind due to them sort of giving some of those older units upgrades. She's still a more new AoE Saber in that regard, though she's been out for several years now. And again, it's one of those things where you can kind of see a Richard just kind of outshining her unless this undead niche does come into play. In that regard, we do also have Altera. Altera is another one that's just been kind of a monster as they've upgraded her over the years. You can see even at NP1, she has no niche, very much like Richard, and she just deals solid damage. And even by NP2 there, she will still outscale and outdamage him. So that's just something that's a feather in Altera's cap. But sort of our damage queen at this point in the AoE Saber category, and it should surprise no one, is going to be Salter. And this is because Salter actually has a proper Black Grail composition due to the upgrade to her skill, and you can see just how much of a firepower difference it makes. She just easily trounces most of the other competition in this regard, unless they have some sort of niche in play. And again, that is just the firepower and actual, like, synergy that you have going on there between Oberon and a Black Grail that is really, really, really going to help her out. So, is Richard a bad unit? No, he's actually pretty much right smack in the middle of the pack. He is a little bit lower maybe on NP1 damage, but as you start getting additional NP levels of him, he scales quite nicely. So it's something to consider with him is how much you like him and whether or not you can see yourself actually ending up and rolling more copies of him. If you really like Fate Strange Fake, or you really, again, just like his overall design, he is definitely somebody that you can invest in and he will reward you for it. However, you may already just go ahead and have a strong AoE Saber. So do you have to roll him? The answer is absolutely not. You do not have to have him. He does not do anything truly unique that is a, man, I'm really going to regret not having this guy type scenario. Again, I do think that Richard is a cool and fun unit. I do think his most unique thing, as we mentioned, is being able to sort of like, again, multi-pop his skills relatively fast if you need to. But ultimately, that's not likely to be a gimmick that will be that useful over time. So it's up to you to determine whether or not you like Richard. Let me know what you guys think about him. Which one is your favorite ascension for Richard? And again, will you be rolling for him when he comes to NA? I'll be curious to hear you guys' thoughts. Thank you guys for watching, and have a happy new year. So my headset died in the middle of that chat. Would he be good as a single target unit? Are you asking, like, would it have been better had they made him single target instead of AoE? Maybe, right? Like, that's definitely something. I do think that's, like, an interesting idea, to say the least, right? Like, I think this is one of the issues that you have overall with a unit like her is that, or not her, Richard, right? Like, that you have a unit that is like yet another AoE Buster Saber, which at this point, and I'm just gonna count like SRs and SSRs, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Man, they had a good streak here. And then they ruined it. 10. 11. 12. And 13. So yeah, he's the 13th AoE Buster Saber added to the game. Technically 14 if you include Fergus, but like that's just rough. And even if you're just SSRs, he's still like what, like the 7th? Like it's kind of like oof, right? Too bad he's not built for CQ, no survival skills at all. Yeah, I mean, I think that's like his biggest issue. I think in general in CQs, we're at this point that like it's nice to have survival, but the supports are so strong that they can usually cover the party, right? Like if you're having to rely on an individual unit's like survival, it's probably because something's already gone wrong and they're going to get through your support. But it is what it is. People find some ways to bring them in like that. Yeah, like I think he could, because I think what you could do is you could do exactly what we talked about like front loading all of his damage and like just doubling stuff up. So it's like if you just like popped like double Koyanskaya stuff and you had like double up of all of his skills turn 1 and then you just let him like card the rest of the turns, you'd have to rely on like card RNG, but like holy crap, right? Like the sheer amount of damage he would already have by turn 1 would just be nasty. But Strange Fake Archer might be a thing. It might be. However, I'm going to tell you, chat, don't count on getting like every Strange Fake character right here, like off the rip. And the reason why is I'm going to tell you they're going to hold some of it back. Plus, it does not appear like you're getting a collab right this second, right? Like, I think that's just their way of like, hey, we're gonna try and like spread some of this out so that we can milk this. And to be fair, chat, that's how it's always been. Like you go back, you look at how they handled Babylonia. They milked Babylonia for like 6 months. I'm not even kidding. Like you can expect them to milk Strange Fake for at least that amount of time. Ooh, ow. You're probably going to get like at least 4 campaigns related to Strange Fake. And that's not including something like a collab. Eris was like a full year later, wasn't she? No, she was like, we ended up having Babylonia campaigns start in like, it was like September, October, and then like we got the tail end of it in like February. Until the first anime season is over. Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised by that. Like I said, expect them to milk it. Expect them to drag it out over time. Do not expect yourself to get like everything all at once. It's not going to happen. There are another dozen Saber units that do exactly the same. Oh, absolutely. Like the reason I rolled him, chat, is because he is an Artoria simp. And I'm dead serious on this. Like, he's just got a cool design. He's like, it's like me for real if they put me in the game. Straight up. Like if I had superpowers and stuff and I'm like a servant, I'd be like, yeah, hell yeah, I can manifest Excalibur. There you go. Like it low key feels like homeboy self insert. So I thought you for real was your VTuber. Yes, I'm just saying like regardless of the actual aesthetic of the design. He just like me for real. Exactly. Would you have rolled for Anning if she was a 4-star? Yes. Will I make Anning a 4-star? No. And if they ever give us the ability to pull back a grail from a unit, I'm getting that grail back, chat. He turns sticks into weapons? Yeah, I mean, I think that's every, like, 2-year-old boy, right? Pick up something, start bonking with it. And this is one of the things that I find so funny, not to get, like political or anything like this, but, like, I've seen, like, recently, like, this push of, like, we can't show kids, like, anything with relation to, like, guns, because that will make kids, like, idolize guns and be more violent with them. And I'm like, you don't understand a child's mind. A child will literally pick up a stick and treat it as a sword. Does the stick have a bend in it? The child will pick up one bend and they will treat it as a gun. It does not matter. That's just how, like, especially boys, that's just how they are. Every male fantasy is like, yeah, I am the protagonist and I have the stick and I am going to beat the enemies with the stick. Yeah, kids are violent regardless. We idolize weapons for no reason. Oh, I don't think we idolize them for no reason. I think there's very logical reasons why they're idolized. It's just people don't agree with those reasons is usually what it is. When shopping with my mom, to just pretend I was acting like an agent shooting down bad guys hiding in various places in the aisles. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I feel like, you know, every kid goes through their, like, chuny phase where they're, like, in their head, they're fighting off, like, hordes of evil demons and secret agents and, like, you know, like, men out to, like, get like, their mother or something like that. Like they're all just sitting there and they're just like, oh yeah, that, like, behind that plant, there's a shadow dragon over there. Like, that's just how kids think. I summoned monsters. So you were a Yu-Gi-Oh fan. He knows, exactly. It's almost like at one point I was a child too, right? Godzilla, actually? Okay, there you go. So you had kaiju battles in your brain. The primal mind only knows war. Yes. Did you summon a bunch of dragons in one turn? Yeah, in the attack position. Isn't that against the rules? Yes. Screw the rules, I have money. Yep. Yeah, the one thing I've learned about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that nobody plays Yu-Gi-Oh! Correctly. Like, if you are playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Correctly, when you go into the tournament hall, you kick over the table, you punch the guy in the face, and you stand over him with your foot on his chest, raising your Millennium Puzzle necklace high in the sky, declaring yourself the victor. Okay? That's the one thing I know about the show. Is that, like, there are no freaking rules. If you're playing by the rules, you're doing it wrong. Okay? I do that when I enter any room. Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah, that's a good idea. But yeah, so it's like, I don't know why everyone bothers to play by the rules. Literally, the show taught me that you should cheat at all times and that it's A-okay as long as you're the protagonist. So therefore, I'm the protagonist. Waiting for the motorcycles? Yeah, exactly. I don't know why the officer would pull you over when you explained that you were having a perfectly legal and morally obligated fight amongst your friends with card games on your motorcycles. The officer just doesn't understand. Reminded me of Shiro doing the same with a pipe. Oh, it 100% is. Rules are for people that don't believe in the heart of the cards. Exactly. You get it. When you stack your deck with an ass pull card? No. See, you don't even need to stack your deck, Gabun. You just literally have the card that you need in your pocket and you pull it out. That's just the way it works. Why? Because I'm the protagonist, so I should do that. I deserve to win because I'm the protagonist. You will have to duel the officer? I mean, you can try to duel the officer. I don't recommend it. The officer will consider that to be some sort of other duel. He's just salty because he couldn't make it as a duelist. Yeah, he's probably a fourth rank duelist with a third rate deck. A Bandit Keith move, but he wasn't the MC. See, that's the thing, though. Bandit Keith at least understood the fact that for his own story, he was the main character. And where Bandit Keith lost was when he acknowledged that he wasn't the main character. Right? So think about that, chat. Think about that. Be the Bandit Keith before he lost. Don't be the Bandit Keith after he lost. Never admit defeat. Never give up. Keith lost to a finger gun? Exactly. What a chump. The officer's counterspell is made of lead? Yeah, I mean, I'm not even going to say that that's a counterspell necessarily. Bandit Keith lost because he's actually Canadian. Yep, that's this problem. He didn't understand. All right, chat. We're going to continue the tradition of breaking my capture card as we go into the Golden Sea of Trees here. We're going to be continuing. This is, I believe, Chapter 9. So we are fairly deep into Part 1. And this is where the Saberface runs will start to get interesting. But yeah, I wanted to quote unquote disclaim this for anyone like screams that they're not on this part yet. Also, keep in mind you can always read alongside me if you guys are worried about story spoilers. Definitely a thing. It just is what it is. Unplug your phone simulator. Yeah, so far it hasn't broken it, so I'm surprised. But it'll probably break it the very second I go, damn it! I haven't leveled Yorokobe Shonen. I feel obligated to keep at least one of these craft essences, chat. I have to. The artwork for this CE is too freaking glorious. One of them must be preserved for all eternity. There we go. I do need to thin out my CEs here, though. I'm having a little bit of a problem. Damn it. Apparently there's a 4-star CE as well. Feel like I'm playing Red Alert 4. Where's Bunny Shiki on there? I think she was on there. I think she's just one of the ones that's like flying or something. New Year's Seas are always fantastic. They really are. The bunny only I can see. But clearly is blocking Olga's view. Hello, Snooze. How's it going? No, you're fantastic, Bob. I feel like I need to unmod Burning just for telling Bob that he's fantastic. We can't have Bob getting uppity and thinking that he's valued in any way, shape, or form. I'm joking. Anyways. Oh, look. Of course it super sucked. Why wouldn't it super suck? God damn, when did I get so many? No, unmod me. I want to abuse my mod powers. No. You can't allow that. Straight to the gulag with you. Okay, now we can go in. So again, chat, if you've never seen me do a Saberface only run, it literally means exactly what I say. It is Saberface only. The exceptions are if the game forces me to use a unit, I have to use it. That does not violate the run, otherwise you wouldn't be able to complete a Saberface run anyways. Okay, what the heck am I facing here? Actually, wait, yeah, this is the beginning of chapter 9? Oh, by the way, Avalon, they were saying there's a typo on the LB7 overview. You fixed it? Okay, sweet. Okay, so we want a Lancer and an Archer here. Damn, what Lancer will I take to the oh shit. Actually, you know what? We haven't really allowed Lalter her time to shine, so we're gonna give it to her. And then we're just gonna throw in like Morgan in here in the back line just in case. Should be fine. Yep, that's what we'll go with. I recommend picking Khadroth just because she can kill herself. That's a good point, but I do try normally to just not use the units at all. Like, I'm just immediately going to get rid of MASH here. Does the arc line count as Saberfaces? No. No, they have to have the Saberface trait. The only exception that I've made is Arthur, who for some odd reason doesn't have it. But it is what it is. It's like basically Artorias, Janus, Mordreds, Morgans. Those are Saberfaces. The MHX series, there's someone else I'm forgetting. I don't feel like there's anyone else I'm forgetting. About Takaru, I've considered doing Takaru, but I don't know that it really matters, right? We'll do this. So my brain almost messed up for a second there as I thought about like potentially just doing like using Korean Sky here, but I was like, wait, no, that wouldn't be a Saberface only run. I mean, technically the story has forced me to use her, but I will try not to use her at all. All right, sweet, free charge. They're forced down Cad's throat, pretty much. Okay, there we go. Lalter got an MP off. What the heck is that? That's kind of annoying. Well, I have to use multiple there anyways. Get a weird pop-up on this. Like, I'll use a card if I kind of have to, but otherwise, eh. Okay. I'm surprised they've ignored, like, they're basically all ganging up on Lalter right now. It's a very sus NFF logo on that side of the tank. I mean, it's normal. Dude, the odds of this are kind of ridiculous. Like, I want to say every single attack except one on Koyanskaya has been on Lalter. That's kind of nuts. I do get that she had taunt on her on one of the turns, but like, even still, should not be happening. Okay, we're gonna do it like that. Thank you. Start attacking somebody else, please. That guts is annoying. There we go. All right. Good job, Morgan. Why? Why invincible? Oh. I'm just trying my damnedest to like kill anyways. Okay, so we should have one, yep. Man, cannot get the actual card to save my life, and if I press this, it likely reroutes everything.
貴様逆鱗に触れたな
It didn't reroute everything. I'll take it.
よく言いました死になさい召し上げましょう潰れなさい
How is the damage for Rasputin? Not too bad. I think it was a little bit over average, but it was nothing terrible.
この恨み忘れません私を 内緒ですよ。私のイルカは油断待ってね。
Well, you done fucked up now, AA Ron.
いい判断です。さあ、行きますよ。
You played yourself. You killed off Walter and you brought in Janu. Dino eating your front line. Yeah, I just didn't plan this one very well. Like, my brain was like, oh, I'll just use Koyan Sky to charge. And then I was like, wait, no, I shouldn't do that. Like, again, I don't really consider it invalidating the run, but I like to try and do the nodes without using the extra units if at all possible. Wait, chat, did I skip the story before this? That's all he said was Bakachi. And then he says all of that. I can't tell if their hair is like on fire or if that's just their mane like floating in the wind. I think it's on fire. Oh, one of these is not like the rest, chat. There's that NFF symbol. It's just smoke. It probably is just smoke. Oh, look, another Singularity 7 reference. And revived Aztec mythology. Okay. I'm so glad that's such a throwaway line, but I'm so glad they gave it to us because, like, it's definitely one of the bigger issues with LB7 is, like, the melting pot of, like, yeah, totally, that's all South American that they've kind of pulled with this, where it, like, anybody that actually lives over here goes like, no, it's not. What are you talking about? But, like, it's difficult to say whether or not like the Japanese couldn't actually like Nasu couldn't actually somehow tell the difference. And you assumed he could, but it was like, man, it just really feels like they're like ramming all of this in together. So I'm so glad that it's like, yes, no, he actually brought the mythology here. So basically, they're closer to being human. He's like, people complained early on without having read this. Yeah, see, and like, it was in my head, like, it's like, hey, this is one of the like major issues I have with the Lost Belt right now. Let's see if it gets addressed. Like, I'm at least smart enough to go like, I'm not gonna open my mouth until I've read everything. And then it's like, if it never gets addressed, I'll complain. But if it gets addressed, there's no reason to complain about it. And I think that's like actually a logical way for this to happen. It's like, oh yeah, the servant that got brought here by the cryptor is literally the one that pulled all this stuff in. Well, a little bit accelerated there. Being on Pangea doesn't help either. Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of this was just like them trying to combine a bunch of different concepts. They wanted to do dinosaurs, they wanted to do Aztec, they wanted to do Mayan, they wanted to do South American, and they just like rammed it all together and then came up with logical ways for how it could have occurred. Which is like, that's perfectly fine. You say 2 buildings, but I see 1. Okay. Hmm. I think it's just he sees the path and he's doing everything he needs to do to ensure success. Like, he knows he can leave it all to Tez. She's too horny. Horizontally? Bro, never say that to a woman. I don't know how we're supposed to learn about them. They don't speak. They speak in wingdings. Actually, the meteor that killed the dinosaurs would have, in theory, been closer to Chichen Itza. Because I believe it happened on the Yucatan. Is Maria a good servant? I feel like she's come a long way, unless you're meaning like Marie Alter, but she's not got like the best damage, but she's still a very, very defensive unit. Very hard to bring down, very hard to kill in a challenge scenario. She has healing and 3 times invincibility. Behave like an Acelema? Like... so just get angry at everything and attack everything? Thank you for the raid, Ventos. Welcome, everybody. I just got rid of the text on the screen in case anyone's coming in. This is deep into part 1 of LB7. So I don't want to spoil anyone, but just a, you know, bit of a warning. Just finished section 2. Yeah, this is much later than that. So but thank you for the raid. Welcome, everybody. How was your GSSR if you did it? And how was your New Year's? Baited myself into Rasputin? Yeah. Yeah, thankfully there's nothing like spoilery on screen right now, so. 1 in 6 chance of a disappointment, and I got it. Oh, no. I picked a relatively safe one. I was actually surprised there was a safe one for me this time around, so I ended up I got Arish out of everybody, so I was like, oh sweet, MP2 Arish, so that'll actually like help out her damage quite a bit. But again, I hope the GSSR and the rolls were good for you, and welcome everybody from Ventos' stream. If you guys never met me before, my name's Khadroth. I stream FGO very regularly at this point, and again, I've been doing a Saberface only run of LB7. I usually do Saberface only runs of the story, and it's always an interesting time to say the least due to the constraints that it puts on me. But if you guys have never checked out Mr. Ventos, make sure you go do so. He's a good buddy of mine and a fantastic streamer in his own right. Realized he would be excellent. Yep. He got them necro memes. I have no idea what that means, Hentai Man. But again, we're going to continue with the story here, so just, you've all been warned, this is somewhere in chapter 9. I believe it's right at the beginning of chapter 9, but it is chapter 9. For now, I'm out so as to avoid spoilers. It's no problem. And thank you again, and Happy New Year to you too, buddy. Thank you for the raid. Welcome, everyone. So feel free to relax and get comfortable. We just won a fight. That was. Oh ho! Oh ho! We do get to meet her. They're not speaking Dinos language. Quietly? I have no idea how you say that. Oh, yeah, sure did. Is that Jaguar Man? Sure. Sure, it's Jaguar Man. Now, chat, I'd like to point out, she's in cut-off jean shorts and assless chaps. It's very nice. Yeah. She's a female ocelotl. That's what it is. Indeed, Andrew. No, don't give it to him. Because I doubt I'll ever meet someone who looks like you again. Damn. The Chaldean conquerors King Iskali and Tezcatlipoca brought here are scheduled to be sacrificed for tomorrow. Being clever is kind of what you people from proper human history are about, isn't it, Khadroth? Wait, come back. Hate to see her go, but Lord to watch her leave. I don't think anyone could have caught her. This is actually a long story segment. This is all post that one battle. Okay, so he's gonna tell us. So he's trying to melting pot this, which is interesting. But still weird because this is in South America. Blue Man, thank you for the 41. Appreciate it. Hope you're having a good one today. Constant part of their daily lives. Five times? Hmm. I see what they're doing here. Pro wrestling and guns? Yeah, I agree. That doesn't. I mean, I'm also going to say this. Like, this is an interesting theory, right? But, like, if you actually, like, believe in this mythology and stuff, and you think you see the incarnation of one of the gods outside your city, you going to tell him, no, he can't come in? That god might just get angry and destroy your whole fucking city. Of course you're going to allow him in. That makes, like, no sense to deny him either, right? So it's the only thing I don't like about this theory is it's excluding the, like, kind of more simple logical choice of the god-fearing man saw a god and decided to invite the god in. La Malinche? Hmm. The Night of Dread? Uh. I like how he just volunteered her for the job. That chapter 9's actually relatively short. God damn it. So he's not dead. Hmm. So is it Khadroth and Sion? The human Tezcatlipoca. So be careful, chat. I look down on them. No, these two things cannot be the same. You cannot both simultaneously look down on us and treat us seriously. That's right, he's simping on Tlaloc. Now that's a freaking line. Like the inside of a living creature or the inside of a spaceship which cuts off all radio waves. We're actually gonna get some Daybit exposition. You'll be the first one I kill, promise. Yeah, that does sound abusive. Huh. Huh. Hey, you should kill yourself. That's basically what he did. Aww. Aww. Oh boy. The question mark known. God damn it. There we go. This is not a bug. Oh god. She's putting us into a coma. What the heck am I facing? Chat, AoE or single target? That's all I need to know. AoE or single target? AoE? But I have a single target in the backline? Oh my god, chat, you're killing me. Do you have your own cheat sheet? Yeah, this isn't one of the ones that's listed, so it's probably a nothing fight. AoE it was. Good call, chat.
この夏を思い切り楽しみましょう。受け取る。それな受け取るがよい。早書きですよ。軽いのうちにこちらですね。内緒ですよ。
内緒ですよ。
早書きです軽上の。とっておきのクルーズを後押します。
Suddenly the moon cell? Yeah. I don't really understand the significance of this yet. I need to see the second part of the story here.
やります。下がっているように。ショータイム。青い空。
We're here to help the streamer, of course. Oh no, it's fine. Like I said, I just asked because it's a question mark node. Obviously, I can't know what's in it, but at least knowing single target or AoE makes a huge difference. And it definitely would have slowed down the node. Dewa.
さあ皆さん
Ooh, okay. God fucking damn it. Do I just lose now? I get that it's showing me the mechanic early. Gonna last 3 turns? Okay. I'm sure I can do that. Nothing else she will struggle to kill Jarcher. Notice of termination. It was just you and me flirting. Yeah, I gotta look at who has the levitation trait. Are servants who can handle strong currents with no trouble at all. Is that a trait? No, it's not. Like, yeah, I mean, I can think of someone, just... I mean, Squirtoria should be fine. She walks on water. Surely that'll be modeled in the game, right, chat? Mash was getting ready to cock block. Oh, I should have a potential solution. So, it is what it is. Ah! Ah! What a interesting thing. Oh, it didn't break. WNP5 when she's released? I mean, it depends on whether or not she's like a welfare or not. JP has already very much hinted at her being a welfare. Like a cat sharpening its claws. Hmm. So she can talk to them? Okay. Man's usual weakness, corn. Yep. He took one look at her corn cobs and he was like, damn, I'ma dive on in. This is like freaking wild that Tepe was doing this. Damn, chat, it's somebody that can stem the tides. Yep. Data update. It has kicked me out. Although I think it broke the capture card even still. Chat, I think we'll end here. We'll leave pretty much all of chapter 10 to do. I feel like that's the safer idea. That means we'll probably wrap things up tomorrow with this, because I should be relatively safe. And I do want to get this done, because again, like I've said, I need to start like recording for things. So, yeah, we'll probably do all of chapter 10 tomorrow, and yeah, so be there, be square. Let me see who all is on tonight. Who all I give love to. Let me send you guys over to Mr. Fox first. He's on tonight. Playing some GFL 2. Again, if anyone is interested, we do have a GFL platoon in effect. It's basically a clan. So if you guys want to join that, just let me know. I did post the link in the CAD chat section of the Discord. But again, it's always out there if you want to apply. Go give Mr. Fox my love, and I will see you all tomorrow for more of Saberface only in Lost Belt 7. And again, good luck if you guys still haven't rolled yet. I hope you guys get exactly what you're looking for. Have a happy new year, and I will see you all for the next one.